Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're back here in Chicago. I want to make a Toronto Raptors video. I didn't recap yesterday's video, and we're going to talk a little bit, not much, about last night's game against the Denver Nuggets, which was very impressive, by the way. But I want to talk Toronto Raptors. The way the Eastern Conference is looking like right now, there's just no way, shape, or form that the Toronto Raptors miss out on the playoffs in general. Like, it's just not going to happen. With the 11th seed, you have, like, the Washington Wizards, and, the way they're playing and with their roster right now, I just don't see them really creeping into 10th, and then there's no way, shape, or form the Toronto Raptors fall from 7 to 10. That's just not going to happen. Even if you're missing OG Anunoby, even if you're still missing, I shouldn't say still missing Freddie because he came back, but he's been, pretty hit or miss recently in the last, 2 weeks or so. Toronto's a good enough basketball team to make the playoffs or make the play-in tournament, might I add. So, Toronto's best chance, or what I would imagine Toronto's hoping right now is that they get, because Brooklyn's right behind them, and Brooklyn's winning a lot right now. Like, KD dropped 53 today. That was really cool. Sorry, that was really cool. KD dropped 53 today. Kyrie, maybe the mandate gets lifted. It looks like. Hopefully Ben Simmons, I'm just hoping Ben Simmons comes back because I would love to see how that big three works, and I just want to see Ben Simmons play. But the Raptors right now, I think they have a 2.5 game lead ahead of the 8 seed Nets, and then you're trying to kind of creep up essentially to Cleveland. It doesn't really look like Boston's going to be faltering too much. So, if you're Toronto, you definitely are hoping that the very also injury-riddled Cleveland Cavaliers kind of start to fall in the standings a little bit while you continue to win basketball games. And last night against Denver, it was awesome. And we have this quote from Doris Burke, but before we get into it, if you guys enjoy this video, hit the like button, hit that sub button. This is pretty much never seen before merch for my golf company that we're going to be dropping hopefully in the next couple of weeks here. Let me know if you guys like it. I just got it today, and I think it's I think it's so cool. I cannot wait to drop it. I don't know how many golf fans there are on this channel though. So we have a tweet from Santa_Rosa today saying, shout out to Doris Burke, saying on nationally televised game that as a team, you, quote, quote, you don't want to face a Nick Nurse-led Toronto Raptors with their championship culture and how hard they can play with different lineups being thrown at you, end quote, in a playing game. And so, we're not even, this tweet kind of got it was all the Raptors fans were praising or agreeing, shout out Doris, and then everyone else was championship team? Do you mean Kawhi Leonard? Because you don't have Kawhi Leonard anymore, so I'm kind of confused here. And it's get out of here. So Denver right now is the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, and Toronto's starting to string together some wins here. They're starting to string together some nice wins here too, after stringing together a couple bad losses. But last night was really interesting because you're playing the Denver Nuggets, who they're a low-key contender actually, because MPJ and Jamal Murray are slated to come back relatively soon. If they get those two guys, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked one bit if Denver were to just kind of be that team. I'm even talking Western Conference Finals. I wouldn't be surprised one bit just because of how talented Jokic is, how talented their bench is, all their role players, Aaron Gordon, and then you're bringing in Jamal Murray and MPJ. That's your second and third best players. That's a recipe for success. But last night, Toronto rolls into it, and you have a really interesting starting lineup. And in my last video about the Toronto Raptors, I think I was talking about, it might have been my last Scotty Barnes video. I think I've made my last 4 videos, 3 of them have been Raptors related. So hit the like button, hit that sub button for daily Raptors content pretty much. I was talking about how I wanted to see a little bit more Armoni Brooks, and of course he draws a start the next game they play, which is super cool. Armoni just hasn't really found anything so far. I mean, to be honest with you guys, he hasn't really had a great season in general. He's just kind of lacking a consistent role. I feel that plays a pretty big reason as far as why he's having a tough year. But last night's lineup was Armoni Brooks, Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes, Precious Achiuwa, Pascal Siakam. So they were pretty thin. And then you have a bench going to Thaddeus Young, Chris Boucher, who dropped. Chris Boucher, first off, let's talk about Chris Boucher for a second, because last night he went 21 points, 13 rebounds, 1 steal, 4 blocks, 8 of 15, in just 30 minutes. Just 30 minutes. Played a whole 30 minutes. The Raptors have a decision to make on Chris Boucher this offseason, and I'm really hoping they bring him back. They bring him back. I feel like he fits not only like their culture and just like their team dynamic and fits in pretty seamlessly with the chemistry that they've developed throughout the years, but I really like Chris Boucher just because I feel like he's not like that young. He's not that old at all. I just feel like he's pretty big and he's super long, and that's exactly what the Toronto Raptors like grand plan is. So, you know, Chris Boucher is a guy who can hop out onto the wing, hop out onto the perimeter, and literally just like block 3-point shots. I mean, there's a reason he's such a good 3-point block shotter. So Chris Boucher going to be an interesting offseason here, but I hope they bring him back. And then you have Kem Birch, Delano Banton, and that's kind of like the 9-man rotation you're running. Armani Brooks didn't get too much run, so you did see like Chris Boucher, Thaddeus Young kind of get into that starter minutes there. But Siakam really was like the dude last night. So you're without Freddie, you're still without OG, and you're on the road playing a really, really, really talented Denver team. Obviously, they're shorthanded as well, but like this Denver team's really freaking good. And they haven't had any issues all season, it feels like. I mean, this team is 40-28. Heading into last night's game, they're 40-27. Like, they're a really good basketball team. And you have Pascal Siakam come out here, and yesterday or 2 days ago, I was praising his phenomenal passing. Well, last night it was, not only was his passing on display, Siakam actually had 7 assists, only five rebounds. He had more assists than rebounds, which is like kind of cool. But he had 33 points, 12 of 22 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, got to the free throw line a bunch. Like, Siakam was the dude last night. So if I told you that was the starting lineup, that was the 9-man rotation the Raptors ran, and they scored 127 points. If like a whole day hadn't passed, you'd probably look at me and be like, if I told you, like, the Raptors, this starting lineup, Siakam, Achua, Scotty Barnes, Armani Brooks, Gary Trent Jr., and let's just give away something. Gary Trent had 8 points, shot 2 of 13 after just dropping like 44 the other night, and I tell you the Raptors scored 127 in that game, you'd be like, that's not true. There's no way. Let's put some money on it, right? So Siakam, Achua's been playing really nice ever since the All-Star break, which is such a key point of emphasis, which is something I try and bring up in every Raptors video. I feel like it's getting a little redundant now, but Achua in just 21 minutes scores 15 points, gets some rebounds, gets some rebounds, gets some offensive rebounds out there as well, and helps chip into this victory. Scotty Barnes, phenomenal basketball game. Like, literally, you just can't draw it any better than what Scotty Barnes did last night. This guy is a superstar stud. Not only was he plus 15, which was the only Raptors starter in a positive plus-minus, but he had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, shot 11 of 20 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, and like, he only had 3 free throws attempts, made 1 out of 3. That's like the only nitpick you could find to Scotty Barnes last night. 2 steals and a block. The guy did every freaking thing except maybe technically make some free throws. This guy is an absolute stud. I'm like, it's getting to the point where it's like every game Scotty Barnes plays, and granted, the same kind of thing goes for Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect the other rookies in this league, but like with Scotty Barnes, it's like I almost want to make a Scotty Barnes video after every game he plays, because it's like, is this real life? It's crazy. So as Doris Burke said, you don't want to play this Toronto Raptors team in the playoffs because Freddie will be healthy, OG will be healthy. Hopefully the Toronto Raptors will be fully healthy, but I guarantee you, I promise you, you don't want to play them. You don't want to play them in the play-in, and you don't want to play them in the first round. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys tomorrow.